Okay, this is a review for meiosis and sexual reproduction. It should go pretty fast. Okay, again, I'm saying meiosis, by the way. Most people in biology would probably say meiosis, but keep it simple, meiosis. All right. So before Chapter 9, the point was what? We're making one cell into two perfect copies. Meiosis, totally different point of view here. We're making one cell into four different genetic copies. Okay? Now they're all going to have the same genes, but the allele forms of those genes and the distribution of them are going to be very different. And that's really the point of all this. Okay? Mitosis is good when we want to make bone cells, when we want to make skin cells, when we want to make a lot of the same cells. That's awesome. But when we want diversity, mitosis does not give it to us. Sure, there's a mutation here and there. Most part, not really. Okay. Meiosis will give us diversity of offspring. Two types of reproduction: asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. You can almost think of mitosis as asexual reproduction. Okay, you're making two perfect copies of the original, barring any mutations or some other things. What meiosis is concerned about is sexual reproduction. So what the whole chapter here, chapter 10, talks about is sexual reproduction, meiosis. Know some advantages and disadvantages to each. I won't go through them, but know some advantages and disadvantages of each. Okay? Know the advantages, know the disadvantages. Advantages of meiosis is what? Variation. Major, huge advantage. You have to know this. Meiosis gives us genetic variation. Man and woman come together, their child is different. Okay? Because meiosis happened in the father and meiosis happened in the mother. And the father is a product of what? His mother and father, right? Well, meiosis is going to take all the genes of his father and mother and mix them up and give all these different combinations. Same thing in the female. The genes from her father and mother are going to be all mixed up, and different unique combinations of those come out. And then you combine those two, and then you get a unique individual. Okay, so major thing with meiosis is variation. Meiosis makes variation. Okay, just a couple, we got to go through some terms here. Okay, I know it's a bunch of terms you got to know, but you know, what can you say? So genes are regions that encode information, protein. And we'll talk about that next section. Okay. So genes code protein, our genetic information. If we have a gene for blood type, for example, you know, okay. Alleles, know what an allele is. It's different forms of the same gene. For example, we have a gene for blood type, we have different alleles for that gene. Okay? We have an A allele and an O allele, that's type A blood. Two O alleles, type O blood. An A allele and a B allele, that's type AB blood. Okay? Genes and alleles. We'll talk about genotype and phenotype later on, but an allele is just a different form of a gene. Know that definition. Let me just make sure you know this. Know the gene definition, know the allele definition. Know both of those definitions. Okay, so we're going to now talk about meiosis. We're going to talk about the specifics. Know these points. Meiosis is the process that we make eggs or sperm. Okay? When males undergo meiosis, we make sperm. When females undergo meiosis, they make eggs. Okay, this makes cells with half the number of physical chromosomes. Humans have 46 chromosomes. A sperm will have 23 chromosomes. An egg will have 23 chromosomes. They are haploid. Now, when we combine those two, the egg and the sperm, we get a diploid cell, or 46 chromosomes. Where does meiosis happen? Meiosis happens in reproductive organs. And a plant is going to happen in the anthers, and the ovules, and the males, the testes, and the females, the ovaries. These are the only locations where meiosis happens, guys. The only place. Everything else, mitosis happens. What we talked about last chapter. Important you know where meiosis happens. In the gametes, or the formation of gametes. Know where meiosis happens. Know where meiosis happens. Okay? Know where meiosis happens. Meiosis is what? Okay, we're going to start with one cell, and we're going to wind up with 4 cells. One haploid cell becomes one diploid cell becomes 4 haploid cells. And we're going to talk about each step here. Okay. But at the end of the day, the end product of this is gametes. Gametes are sperm or egg. Okay, gametes are sperm or egg. Now, gametes have half as many chromosomes as the other cells. So the first stage of meiosis is crossing over. Happens in prophase 1. Okay. There's a lot of stuff going on here, so I just want to make sure. Give me 1 second here. Okay. What do you need to know? Let's talk about what you need to know about this, right? Okay. Meiosis is 2 rounds of cell division. Take home point number 1. Meiosis is 2 rounds of cell division. We have meiosis 1, which is prophase 1, metaphase 1, anaphase 1, telophase 1. Another division, meiosis 2, prophase 2, metaphase 2, anaphase 2, telophase 2. Okay, also know what? That crossing over happens in prophase 1. We'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, and just know the differences here. What? Meiosis has 2 stages, mitosis has 1 stage. At the end of meiosis, there's 4 cells. At the end of mitosis, there's 2 cells. And mitosis ends in diploid cells. Meiosis ends in haploid cells. This should be this is the take-home points. And also, these are some take-home points. You should know these. Mitosis, the products of mitosis are not genetically different, barring any mutation or any small thing like that. But the products of meiosis are genetically different. Okay? They're genetically different. Another point to make is there are male and female differences. Mitosis happens the same in males and females. No difference at all. Meiosis, there are male and female differences. Look at that picture on the right. You see it says telophase 2 and has 4 circles? Well, in a male, that would be 4 sperm cells. Okay? A female will be 1 egg and 3 polar bodies. Okay? So there's differences there. Mitosis, same thing, no matter the gender. Okay. No chromosome count. Humans have 46 chromosomes and have 23 pairs of homologous chromosomes. Okay, so meiosis, the chromosome number will be half of the normal chromosome number. This is a key point. Let's talk about humans. Take one of my cells. Take one of your cells. They have 46 chromosomes in them. We take a sperm cell or an egg cell, and they have 23 chromosomes in them. One of our skin cells, for example, is a diploid cell. One of our eggs, for females, or sperm for males, is a diploid or a haploid cell. Okay, we combine those two, and we form a diploid cell. So let's talk about some specifics here. I didn't talk much before because these are some specifics about meiosis, and I knew this was coming up. So, meiosis is divided into 2 rounds. We have meiosis 1, meiosis 2. And meiosis DNA is replicated once. So the first division, what happens? 2 sister chromatids separate. Now before this, they did crossing over. Division 2, they separate once more, and then we have 2 separate chromosomes. Okay. Big advantage here. Big advantage in meiosis is genetic variability. Know that. And then know what these three factors are. Crossing over, random assortment, and fertilization. All of these three increase genetic variability. Let's talk about them. So crossing over, very important. This is going to be an exchange of genetic material between chromosomes. Okay, let's look at this one on the example. It has a dark purple one and a blue one. You see that on the right? Well, let's just say that dark purple is from your mother and the blue one was from your father. Okay, these are homologous chromosomes. They come together, and part of your mother's chromosome is going to swap with an identical part from your father's chromosome. And this happens at multiple times down the gene, or down the chromosome. Okay. And again, this happens in prophase 1. Know where this happens. And again, what's happening, that purple one's your mother's, blue one is from your father. It's going to swap a small section. Random assortment. This is another genetic variability step. When these move to the final gametes, okay, the movement of one chromosome is not dependent on the movement of another chromosome, is what this says. Nothing about one chromosome will hold on and make another chromosome go with it. Finally, fertilization. We're going to fuse two haploid gametes that are hopefully from significantly different donors. Okay, we hope they're not from first cousins, all right? Because they are of a different genetic stock, it's going to combine alleles, hopefully, and increase variability. Okay. Key points here. Gamete formation is different in animals. We said mitosis is the same in males and females. Well, meiosis is different. Meiosis is going to form 4 sperms per one cell. Meiosis will form 1 egg and 3 polar bodies in females. Okay. Now, the last point is also important. 3 of those are sacrificial for reproduction. They kind of have a role, but they will not be fertilized, typically. What they're going to do is they're going to give up all their cytoplasm just for 1 egg to get all the cytoplasm so it can be fertilized. That's the point. Just a picture of that process going on. What do we see? We see a male, the male, it starts with 1 diploid germ cell and it winds up with 4 haploid gametes. In the female, we see a little bit different story. We see 1 cell, and that 1 cell separates into 2 and then 4, but 3 are haploid, 3 are polar bodies. That was the first in panel C on the right. The top 3 are polar bodies. They're not going to be fertilized. The ovum at the bottom will be fertilized. The point here is what? There is differences in division between males and females in meiosis. This difference is not present in mitosis. Know this point. Know this point. Good for true-false questions.